Konnichiwa. In this video, we're going to learn how to use the polite past tense forms of verbs to talk about actions that happened in the past. So luckily, this is actually a pretty easy thing to do. So these are new conjugations, but they're not super new. They're based on the polite non-past conjugations that we've already learned. You don't have to do much at all to change them around. So it should be pretty easy for you to remember. So we've already learned the conjugations for the non-past, for affirmative, mas, for negative, masen. To change these to past, we just change mas to mashita, and then masen to masen deshita, right? So as long as you know the mas form, it's really easy to just switch out these endings, and they work for any type of verb that you might have, right? So let's take an example. If we wanted to say, yesterday, did you go to the gym? Asking a question, did you go to the gym yesterday? It would be, 昨日、ジムに行きましたか? So we've got ikimasu, we just changed that to ikimashita for the past tense. Then you want to say, no, I didn't. いいえ、行きませんでした. So right, we've got ikimasu, we just add the masen deshita ending, and that means I didn't go. 行きませんでした. So that's all we really need to do. So just one other thing that might be useful for talking about the past tense, something that gets used pretty often with these past tense conjugations is a when clause. So when I was a child, when I was in high school. So something telling about the period of time in which it happened. To get this in Japanese, we use noun no toki. And the noun here is the period in life that you're talking about. So when I was a child, when I was in high school. It's assumed that the topic is, so it'll be whenever the topic was noun, or whenever the topic was in noun, right? If no topic is explicitly mentioned, it'll be assumed that the speaker is the topic in a statement, is talking about themselves, their own period, the period of time in their own life. If it's a question, it'll be assumed that it's talking about a period of time in the listener's life, right? So for instance, when I was a child, this would be 子供の時. So child no toki, right? And since the default assumption is we're talking about me in a statement, 子供の時 would be when I was a child, right? In a statement. In a question, it would be when you were a child. When I was in high school, 高校の時. So again, we just have the word for high school, の時, right? So when I was in high school. In a statement, if we're asking a question, 高校の時 could be when you were in high school, right? And then finally, when I was 1 year old, 1歳の時, right? So 1 year old の時, 1歳の時. Or in a question, when you were 1 year old, right? So now let's try using these when clauses combined with the polite past conjugations of verbs to make some sentences, see how they can work together, right? So for instance, when I was in high school, I studied a lot. What would this be? 私は高校の時たくさん勉強しました. We have 私は here, so we know it's when I was in high school, but even if you leave that out, it's a statement. The default assumption is we're talking about me, right? So 高校の時たくさん勉強しました. Same meaning. How about, did you eat vegetables when you were a kid? 誰々さん, whoever the person's name is, は子供の時野菜を食べましたか? Right? And again, even if we leave out the name here, since it's a question, we're assuming that we're talking about when you something, when you were a kid. 子供の時野菜を食べましたか? How about, I never went to the library when I was a freshman or when I was a first year in school. This would be 私は1年生の時全然図書館に行きませんでした. Or you can even leave off the 私は. We're assuming, the assumption is that you're talking about yourself. So 1年生の時全然図書館に行きませんでした. Didn't go to the library at all. So that's how you can combine these when clauses with the past tenses of verbs to talk about a variety of different times in the past. Okay, that's all for this video. Until next time, じゃあまた.